an introduction to NLP.
Neuro-linguistics programming, NLP. Who has heard of it? Gobbledygook? Nonsense? Or perhaps something that actually makes sense and works? I believe it does, and I believe in it to the extent that I'm studying for a master's. I think it can be leveraged to cure addiction, allergies, phobias, to name a few. In the second day of my training, someone was cured of his addiction to nail biting, and another person, his phobia of spiders. So what is NLP? Well, I'd like to tell you a little bit about it this evening, give you just a little bit of a taster of what it is, and then teach you a very simple but extremely effective technique called the Circle of Excellence. And I think there are a few of us in the room, Tanya for example, who might be able to use it for their own advantage in a specific context, like flying. But I want to teach you this evening in the context of interviews, and the purpose of which is to try to help you to never be nervous in interviews again. So what is NLP? Well, NLP is all about making changes in ourselves in non-invasive ways. So it studies how our mind and our body reacts when we sense things. So what we smell, see, hear, for example. There are neurological pathways between your senses and your mind and your glands and the chemicals and the feelings produced. So if, for example, you think of sun cream, for me, I think of sunshine, Boracay beaches, holidays, and I feel kind of good. And that's only because subconsciously I've set up a pathway, and I've used it quite a few times, of smelling sun cream and thinking about holidays and feeling kind of good. You can change that neurological pathway and not feel good when you smell sun cream, for example. Who gets nervous in interviews? So we only get nervous in interviews because subconsciously we've set up this neurological pathway. We think of interviews and there's a pathway that makes us feel nervous. But as I said, with the sun cream example, you can actually change that pathway. And how do you do it? You do it through NLP techniques. So that's a little bit about what NLP is. So let me teach you this technique, the Circle of Excellence. What would be fantastic to feel in interviews?
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement.
You get it all.
Confidence.
Praise.
Confidence. What else? Excited. Yeah. Yeah. So I think all of them. So perhaps for me, certainly confidence, probably focus, excitement, and calm would be just brilliant. And you can make that happen. So let me just teach you a very simple technique, the Circle of Excellence. So this is what you do. You create a virtual circle. And then you take the first feeling you want, say confidence, for example. You close your eyes and you think back to a time when you were feeling super confident. And perhaps that was when you were doing a speech, or even if it's tying your shoelace, anything you know what to do, you're managing, you're coping brilliantly, and you're super confident, and you really kind of get into the zone. So what's going on around you at the time, what are you doing, what are people saying, and really recall those super confident feelings. And when you're really at a peak of those really confident feelings, you step into the circle, and you flood the circle with those confident feelings. And then you step out, and you take the second feeling you want. So, for example, focus. And again, so you think back to a time when you are really focused. And for me, I tend to be quite focused in exams. So you recall that time in the exam, you're reading the question and the answer just springs to mind and you've got a clear head and you're writing, scribbling away and it's silent and you hear the clock ticking and you're completely absorbed in that moment. And just remember how it feels and feel those focused feelings. When you're feeling them, step into the circle and flood the circle with those feelings and step out. And you do it again with whatever you want, whether it's excitement, whether it's calm, so you say calm, so again you think that perhaps it was when you were on a beach and you were super relaxed. Really build those feelings up, remember what's around you, the sounds, what you can see, what you can hear. And again, you step in and you flood the circle and you step out. So now we have got this circle of excellence full of what we want in interviews. Then, you imagine yourself going to the interview and this circle just appears everywhere you go. So you walk towards the interview and the circle appears. You go and open the door and the circle appears. You go and sit down and the circle appears. He asks a question and the circle appears. And everywhere you go, it's like one of these disco floors. Wherever you step, this fantastic circle of excellence appears. Then, think ahead to the 100th interview you've had, where you've been feeling fantastic, confident, excited, calm, focused. It's just a breeze. You've done brilliantly in all of them. So that's the technique in a nutshell. And what you're doing is you're setting up a new neurological pathway between thinking of interviews and the feelings produced. It sounds a bit funny, but it's actually extremely powerful and effective. So when you now think of interviews, you have this different pathway, and the more you use it, so the more you really fill the circle and imagine it there in the interview, and the more you look back on having felt confident and brilliant and focused, the stronger that pathway is, and the more you use it, the more likely the nervous pathway disappears, because you don't use that one, and it just disappears, and it happens really quickly. So that's just a quick taster, whistle-stop tour of NLP. I'm actually at a stage now where I'm treating people for phobias, and there are many different techniques which I can tell you about if you're interested afterwards. But the circle of excellence is one for you to use quite easily if you want to. So let me just recap. So NLP, neurological programming, is about making us change ourselves, changing the states we are in certain situations in a very simple and easy way. And I taught you a technique which was the circle of excellence, where you fill the circle with what you want in a certain situation and it just appears everywhere. And it's creating a new neurological pathway. So that's it, and I encourage you all to use it in your next interview and let me know how you get on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgina, for sharing the circle of excellence of confidence that I'm studying right now. This reminds me of the course that I attended in Singapore that talks about the same thing. But with that, telling yourself this is good and this is great, you keep telling yourself this is good, this is great, good and then great, giving yourself that pump of energy to feel more confident. Thank you for sharing this tips. I think it helps us a lot as well. Now, we're all done with 8 speakers.